Close that. We are live for Depths of Gaming 25.
Greetings, comrades! Episode 95?
No, 25.
25, there you go.
90,
I suddenly
95,
felt much older for a moment.
95 would imply we've been doing this for a couple of years.
Yes, I am back from the land of the free and Chipotle.
India?
No, America. You have Chipotle. I don't think there's Chipotle in India.
I really think there is. Anywho, about video games. Segues. So, Absolver has just got high in the Steam charts. It's a martial arts role-playing game where you play as a prospect of a order called the Absolvers, who spend all day beating the shit out of each other with Kung Fu.
Yes, it's basically like Overgrowth with no physics and no footy.
The other comparison I've seen is For Honor, but actually about the combat system.
I see. Speaking about the combat system, I find it a little bit complicated in this game. I don't know how that many people are actually getting into this.
It sounds far more complicated than it actually is.
I know. It's like you have 4 stances that depend on your orientation to your enemy, and then you have like a set of skills, like that is like a deck of cards for each stance.
No, it's called a combat deck. You assign moves to your slots, and so how a move starts is they start in one stance and they usually transition to another. For instance, I'll be facing away from you, I press X, and I'll have it set so I'll do a jackhammer punch, which is where I hit you twice in a overhead motion. Now I'm facing in front of you, so if I press X again, the front stance move will trigger when I press X, not my back stance move.
So basically what you're saying is you're basically dancing around like a ballerina in order to make a combo that will continuously attack the enemy.
Yes, you're trying to use the momentum of your strikes to chain forth a combo of moves that loosely end and begin in a sequence that allows you to do combos.
Yes. And that's entirely not complicated at all.
Not really, and yes at the same time, because a lot of it has to do with what moves you know and what style you use. For instance, I use 99% of people use cult method, which is heavy Muay Thai, and they'll start with cult method, so they'll build their strength, and then they'll usually build into something like a dex build with the whatever the fuck the fourth style is called. And the fourth style is a very heavy with kicks, a lot of drunken boxing in there, and your fighting style is also going to determine like what stances you're going to use. Like Muay Thai, you're usually facing the guy. So a lot of your moves are going to be punches, heavy punches, side punches, that sort of thing.
Da.
And if you have a back stance punch, it's going to be turning around and punching really hard.
Mm-hmm.
So the more you do it, the less mystifying it seems.
Yeah, because many people actually say that games like Dwarf Fortress or
yeah, I regard that as extremely complicated.
Yeah, and yeah, I can, but when you get into it a little bit more, it starts falling into place. So I'm sure that complexity, once you go past that complexity of moves in Absolver, you basically can get a lot of depth out of this.
Right.
Because I'm assuming that all those moves are supposed to give you a lot of flexibility during a fight.
Yes, because the purpose of there being so many moves is that you never know what you're going to be fighting. You might be fighting a guy with a heavy boxer move set, and then all of a sudden he starts just dodging and kicking you in the ass, and you have no idea what's going on. Or you'll fight a guy, and for some reason he's facing away from you, and you're going, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then he bends over and he does a drunken double punch, and you're like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, so that basically makes this game incredible. But
and also, there's an Easter egg that resurfaced.
Tell us about the Easter egg.
So, randomly, there are two random bosses. There's a random boss called Jin, which he's a drunken boxer. He spawns somewhere, and you only get the really good drunken boxing moves from him. But
in order to get moves from him, you have to block them.
Oh yeah, I didn't explain that yet. In Absolver, if you dodge or block a move, you gain tension, and if you fill that up, you learn the move, and you can then put it in any deck set that you want. So at first, you only start with the basics for your stance and the basics for the weapons, and then as you fight more people, you'll start learning new moves. So that's the funny thing about this game is the story mode can be rushed through in about 3 hours if you go full bore, full tilt. But if you really want to enjoy the game, you have to just fuck around and fight people.
Yeah, gather those moves to get yourself as much flexibility, and then I believe that the game has a multiplayer component too.
Yes, you'll randomly run into people that are fighting through the same world as you. You can co-op with them, you can fight them. If you run into a guy who's fighting a boss, you can join him and get credit for fighting the boss.
Nice. Boss stealing.
And but there's also a second mini boss that is a formless. He has no name, and he just looks gray with a basic mask. This guy only uses one attack, known as the Kabat. This attack is where he open palm slaps you in the face. And there are now movesets where people will finish enemy players with a slap. Look it up on YouTube if this interests you. Look up the Kabat slap Absolver and laugh. It is amazing. I really like Absolver. It's a good game. I believe they're working on another zone. So, the thing about multiplayer games is they tend to change publishers if they don't nowadays if they don't do well instead of just outright dying. And this is because there are companies like Wargaming.net that will very quickly swoop up anything that they think they can make money with. And so Total War Arena was in closed beta testing about a year ago, and it plays a lot like Total War in that you have 3 squads of units. You play with it's 10 versus 10. So each player has 3 squads of units. There are hard counters. There's 10 tiers. And as you once you get to tier 4, all of the different types of units are in play, so it starts getting progressively more strategic as you play.
Makes sense. By the way, let's mention that the Total War Arena, right?
Yeah.
Is made by Wargaming.net. Basically, a gaming company.
It's being published now by Wargaming.net.
Yeah. And these people are known for essentially one game. World of, and insert World War II weapon of destruction here. So World of Tanks, World of Warplanes, World of Warships, and so on and so forth.
This is World of Rome.
Yes, World of Rome. There we go.
And the reason I say World of Rome is because now this is before the publisher change. It played like this. There are premium units you could buy with gold. It's tiered in the same World of way. Unit XP, same World of way. It's designed the same way. So Wargaming.net has to do almost nothing except for change the place where the checks are sent. So there's a reason why they picked up this game. It's because they required no effort.
Yeah, Wargaming is known for the fact that they do not like to put effort in it. They put effort once. They clearly didn't like it. However, based on that, they are making sure to milk that effort to every single cent.
Now the saving grace here is that they didn't make the game. Sega did. So, Creative Assembly did. So it's still a Total War game. I played the shit out of it the last couple of days. The NDA was lifted. And I've been playing with the new War Dogs. They are really fun. They work the same way you think. Well, they work the way you'd think they work. Is you can send out the dogs because the unit is split evenly into dogs and handlers. So the handlers fight like light infantry. The dogs fight like super light infantry.
Dogs fight like dogs.
Yes, and the thing about dogs is they ignore the phalanx rule, which is if you go into phalanx position, your guys will hold out their pikes so that the enemy can't get close. You hit them, they can't hit you.
Oh. And dogs ignore that.
Dogs ignore that rule. So only abilities like the phalanx thrust are going to hurt dogs. Which, by the way, I noticed firsthand, and holy shit, long pikes do not get easily countered by dogs. Neither does Leonidas. Leonidas counters dogs pretty well. Because he has an ability where all of his guys hit you with their shield and stun you.
I see.
Leonidas is a really, really good spear and pike hero. So, really fun. It's still going to do the premium thing that Wargaming.net is famous for.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of bummed out by that. But balance-wise, the gameplay is a lot better. I've been noticing that they made it so now numbers will pop up telling you how much damage you take and how much damage you're doing.
That's nice.
And there's
At least you
also
will know how effective you are.
There's also an indicator for friendly fire, so it'll bark at you repetitively if you keep hitting your enemies, which the game needed.
If you keep hitting your enemies,
or your allies, because
Yeah,
I'm sorry, because arrows, contrary to popular belief, don't automatically hit people that you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Neither do rocks or ballistae or really any large weapon that the Romans employ. Because part of the reason that the Romans fought the way they did is they couldn't afford to smash their own people with fucking rocks. Hence tight formations and such that. That's why artillery was relatively unknown up to the Romans, because they were the only ones that knew how to do it right at the time.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's true in Total War Arena. They're the only ones with artillery right now.
I'm assuming that they would also be the only ones that actually had the necessary infrastructure to actually build them.
Correct.
Yeah, because it's difficult to make an artillery if you live and fight inside of a primeval forest.
Well, that's the thing about why the Germans get the war dogs is a lot of Rome's fighting tactics were from the enemies that they assimilated. That's how the gladiatorial system worked. Is every type of gladiator was modeled on a place they conquered. This is also Rome is also where Hunger Games got their everything.
Yeah, nothing's original.
Nothing is original. Trust, and I hope I hurt your world. Anyone who's listening, Hunger Games. It's such a great game. It's such a great idea. I'm so glad that writer originated it.
Morty, shut up, Morty.
Morty,
shut
you're
up,
full
Morty.
of shit.
It's not original. Nothing is original.
Rome had a system where every place they conquered, they set a guy and a girl. Just like Hunger Games. Give credit to Battle Royale. They tried something, Morty. They tried.
Yeah.
Wild West Online exists. We covered the rumors about it a while ago. It turns out that the company purposefully leaked its those images in order to create hype off of Rockstar's community. So a theme you're going to notice in this whole segment is deception. So some of you are going to notice that I put up a picture of a lake, and just keep that in mind. I'm going to just think, why did I do this? Why? And we'll get back to it. So yes. Wild West Online, it turns out, is being developed on the Nightshade engine, which was used for War Z, Romero's Aftermath, Nether, and a handful of other games that were designed in order to fool people into thinking that there was a huge game to be played here, when in reality it's just the same game with different skins. They're all base assets out of the Nightshade engine.
Yeah, basically think Transmorphers. That will make sense in a moment.
Yeah, you know all those pornos where they say this ain't whatever it is XXX. That's what this is, only with video games. So, now that's just the engine. You know, it could be a different company. Maybe they just sold the engine to someone. Fair enough. Enter Steven Bursku. Steven Bursku is a copyrights lawyer from Massachusetts.
I see.
Burku, not Bursku, Burku. And
Okay.
or Bursu, or however the fuck you pronounce it.
Whatever the fuck, yeah.
Stevie Boy here, he is a Massachusetts lawyer, and he has two names that he files copyrights under: Stephen Burku and Stephen A. Burku. Both of them out of the same office in Massachusetts. Now, Stephen Burku, his credits include titles such as War Z, Romero's Aftermath, Nether, and also all of Infestation, and every other name tied to that company that created those games.
Mm-hmm.
Now, isn't it really interesting that on his new name, Stephen A. Burku, he only has 2 credits? One for some, logical search engine idea website, and for a game called Wild West Online.
Oh! And the subject of today's... of this topic
So to back this up,
Wild West Online.
let me scroll through this. This is Stephen Burku's credits. Cryovigor, Rise of the Badlands, Shadows Die, Aftermath. We go down, there's Nether, there's Infestation, there's War of Mechs, there's Lightcard, whatever the fuck that is.
Basically, all those barely popular games.
There's all those barely popular games. And now here is Stephen A. Burku's records, and Think Pinion, and Wild West Online. Now, we're going to look at Wild West Online here, and so something we're going to notice here is that it's by the same company, and I can't get to it. Oh yeah, I can. View documents. So what we're looking for here, if I can get it to do what I want it to do. No, I can't. Oh, well, I suppose you won't get to see the image that they used to file the patent. Oh, wait. Yes, you can.
Every
Here it
patent
is.
has an image that represents the product.
Here is the image that they filed, Stephen A. Burku filed to copyright, or to patent, rather, this game. This is the image. This fucking lake. Right here.
Because this lake completely and utterly identifies Wild West Online and no other game in existence whatsoever.
And I invite you to go look that up and look at the specimen that he filed for his patent, because this image is going to be really familiar to you.
At least according to him.
And so, now, this should be enough evidence here to tell you that it is the exact same people that worked on War Z, Romero's Aftermath. It's a money grab by those same people. So, having established that, let me move on with my point. There's this guy named JRS on YouTube who brought up that this game is probably a scam by the Sergey guy that made War Z. And at this point, I believe him. I believe that the same financiers that enabled him are enabling these people, because I believe those same financiers paid Stephen Burku to file that patent.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's one thing to share an engine. That's one thing entirely. It's another thing to share patent lawyers. It's a completely other thing to share patent lawyers.
Both.
And if you share both, then there's a problem. And if this is the image that you file legally to represent your video game, which, by the way, was filed in May, a couple months ago.
Show the other 2 pictures.
I can't, because they're tiny and fucking blurry.
I know! It's like, there's this picture of, generic picture of plains and 2 horses and maybe couple cactuses, and that's supposed to represent Wild West Online. I just can't get over it. How is that patentable?
This is
because
not,
it's
no.
not.
This lake is not patentable. This lake is not a representation of this game. This lake is a fucking joke by some sick fucked individual that thinks that we're this stupid. And by the way, the website where you can buy the founders packs to this game, you can purchase or rather you can purchase Founder Pack, get access to it right now, and there is a refund policy. You can just get your money back, no questions asked.
This is how you get a real patent.
What are you doing?
I gave you on Discord a link.
You gave me a link.
Yes.
Oh, this is probably the best thing that could appear to make my point. So here, I'm going to very jankily introduce a new image here, showing my professionalism. And so this is a patent that was filed. Now notice in this patent, you can see the device. You can see how it works. You can see what it is. You can see it's stupid.
It has a number. Yeah, it is, but it's a properly filed patent.
And if you look on Trademarkia, just look at any other patent, you'll see that under specimen they show you what it is. They do not show you a scenic lake.
I think this guy has a problem with discerning the difference between a patent, a copyright, and a trademark.
Yeah.
Because those three things are completely different, and both in their function and in their in the type of protection.
Oh, I'm
that
sure
they give.
I lost a lot of legitimacy because I don't know the fucking difference.
Basically, trademark is supposed to.
Well, trademark regulates the trade. Copyright is where you can't copy the damn thing.
No, basically, copyright is what it sounds like. It's the right to copy. Trademark is supposed to give the person who buys something assurance as to where that product comes from and the quality that they expect from that product.
I see.
And trademark, copyright, and patent. Patent is basically like copyright, but for reproduction of a physical object that performs a specific function.
Right. Okay, so yeah, this is all.
It's all legal gibbly.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ! This Stephen Berku guy is a dick. And I also wanted to personally thank Stephen Berku for letting us know this scam exists before everyone was fooled.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to thank him, because otherwise you would have hundreds of people going, "Holy crap, we got War Z again."
Mm-hmm.
Also, in Who Cares news, GTA Reline added their own Battle Royale mode. Whoop-de-doo.
Of course. Because something's got popular and no one can do anything original anymore because nothing original
it's because AAA companies are called AAA companies because if they try anything different, they are going to be fucked up in a AAA fashion.
Yeah. They basically innovation does not work in AAA industry. Innovation, the reason why innovation exists is because of small time inventors. No one else.
I was telling people years before it happened that indie games are the future of gaming because AAA companies are not able to give people what they want. Because by virtue of how AAA companies work, they are trying to sell to a specific crowd.
Yes.
And
yeah.
and they can't change from that because otherwise they won't be hitting their core market.
Yes. The problem is mostly lies with the fact that they are. It's so expensive.
Oh, and also, I'm sorry, I have my window open, so you're going to hear a bunch of Flatlander tourists. All of the people from like the valley, they come here to escape the heat wave.
It's okay. The biggest problem with AAA industry is the fact that the creation of new games, creation of new IP is so expensive and therefore so risky that they cannot they cannot create new things. The best they can do is that they can create an old thing again and again and again, so that it sells.
They're remaking Call of Duty, the original Call of Duty, and they're calling it They're calling it Call of Duty World War II, even though it's just a remake of the original Call of Duty, that kind of stuff.
Yes, and I understand why they're doing that. However, the biggest problem is that the fact that
it's because the people that control the money of their industry got them by the balls.
That's what I wanted to say. Well, not really. The way AAA industry operates is by advertising something so much that they force you to like it and buy it. AAA basically stands for the first A is 1/3 of the product is the actual product, and the 2/3 are the advertisement. That's it. And it's incredibly stupid and horrible because advertisement do not make good for good products, unfortunately.
Well, that and advertisement became. The thing is that for the longest time, advertisement was an industry, and to a degree, still is. But you have a whole different way it can work now, where it's free. And companies didn't understand that. So they just kept throwing money at people and throwing money at people and throwing money at people. And the game is still of the same caliber that it would be. It's just that they throw more money at it.
Mm-hmm.
And yet here we have this unknown player comes in, remakes the Battle Royale movie into a shooter game, and then all of a sudden he has revolutionized the industry. When we were kind of asking for this shit forever.
Well, if we were asking for this specific shit, it would probably be done. I think that
ever since I saw Battle Royale, I wanted to play that game.
I guess. I cannot say anything about what you want.
Maybe with less like B cup schoolgirls, but definitely some class murdering. I was a fucked up kid, but Battle Royale in GTA, GTA didn't need to do that. GTA needs to stop trying to be trendy. Make a new fucking game, Rockstar.
But they only know how to make GTAs. I think they forgot how to make GTA in 2D anymore.
Yeah, I think they did. So, on to answers that no one wanted. Playing a DM as a PC. So
Simple answer. If you have to ask this question, don't.
I'm not even gonna. Let's not even look at his question. The answer is no.
Yes. If you have to ask the question, if whether or not you want to play as a
not do it.
as a character, don't, because it's a lot of headaches, and you're going to compromise gameplay for yourself and for the players. Because once you start playing as a playing character, as a GM, you're basically breaking a dynamic that is between players and GM. GM is there to create puzzles and to create problems on the route of the players towards success. Once you start playing as a player, you're starting to, even unconsciously, leaking information to them that make the entire thing basically pointless. So don't play as an NPC within the party of your players. It's simple as that.
Now you can give the party NPCs. The NPCs have a personality, they have a purpose, they have things they do, they have things they don't like to do. Where a DMPC is
but
just
they are temporary.
But they're typically temporary. That's right. Is they can either die or leave the story at any point. Mm-hmm. Where a DMPC is a character that is deeply tied to the story and insists on being part of the party, but isn't.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, a super powerful wizard that takes the party under their tutelage, or a martial artist that just follows the party for no reason. Like, that's a DMPC. Because they're a part of the party, they're a player character, but they're also the GM.
I think it could kind of work as a mysterious stranger kind of thing.
Well, there are ways it can work, it's just you can't have that be the mainstay of your campaign.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a person that goes, you only have like 2 people in your party. Rather than playing the game in a way that makes that possible, I'm going to just make it hard and be a party character.
Yeah, pretty much. It's much easier to just say, rocks fall, everybody dies.
Keep in mind, D&D scales. You can scale it in any way you want to handle what you're doing. You want a dramatic 300 thing, you can do a dramatic 300 thing. You want to battle between like small groups of people, you can do that. You want to do it against party versus party, you can do that too. There are ways for it to scale, but the way you do not purposefully make it. You don't. Let's put it this way: boxers don't cheat. They stick to their weight class unless they're Floyd Mayweather. And so typically a boxer will fight people that they're supposed to be fighting of an equal skill unless they're Floyd Mayweather. So they'll fight people in their weight class. They'll fight people with their with a complementing fighting style. They'll fight people that that show promise. Mm-hmm. Or they may not. And the people that don't get called out on it, like Floyd Mayweather. So you don't be the person that gets caught out. That gets caught because you are cheating. You not cheating in the harsh word, but you are cheating in the playful, you're cutting corners way.
Yes.
Because how do you cheat at D&D besides fudging numbers?
Sometimes you have to fudge numbers.
Well, as a DM, you can fudge numbers.
Yes.
They're like mulligans. You get a few.
Yeah.
You get a few. Where this is just a player character that's controlled by the DM and thus really powerful.
Yeah, basically the idea comes down to when you're playing your own game, it's basically like masturbating.
Yes.
So, at the end of the day, you're going to come out of the experience empty inside.
How philosophical of you.
Yay!
Yeah, that's our
We needed a little bit of levity.
Yeah, that was our show. We went over everything cause as a fucking recap, Absolver's doing good. Absolver, developed by Slowcap, is on the on the rise. It's got 18,000 concurrent players with server problems. Fuck yeah.
It's okay. They are indie developer. We can forgive indie.
The fact that they are holding on to good numbers despite that, I mean they're sitting on a mixed right now on Steam reviews, which hey I think is fucking good on release day. Then there's Total War Arena is going into closed beta testing as part of wargaming.net. As a reminder, you can buy founders packs. $11 I believe gets you in. Unless you're like me, I played in the previous alpha, so I just get in. Neither.
Oh, I see. For example, I see for the Absolver. I'm sorry that I'm interrupting you.
Oh, it's fine.
One of the negative reviews is basically saying that the game is awesome in America or Europe, but it's unplayable in places like Australia.
Well, the reason for that is it's region locked, and
that and basically servers are probably only in America and Australia and Europa.
Well, yeah. For instance, people in Oceania are pissed.
Yeah,
that's a notable complaint.
I imagine that playing this game on lag, a game that is very
frustrating.
It
relies entirely on latency.
So I understand fully the reason why someone like that might be unhappy with it.
That's the reason. So, Tour Arena Founders Packs. And they did something sneaky, by the way. The people that automatically got in, they had it open for like a day. They sent people a email. It was like, you have until tonight. Redeem your fucking code. I was like, holy shit, okay. Because it's funny, I went from hearing nothing about that game to hearing everything about that game.
That's good. That means that this is a very intense advertising campaign.
It takes 10 minutes to get to the beach if you go there. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking with the guy on the phone outside. Let's see here. Wild West Online is a scam, and you should refund your money.
Mm-hmm.
It is being developed by the same people that made War Z, Romero's Aftermath, and Nether. Mm-hmm. Or if it's not being developed by, which, by the way, they extremely deny,
mm-hmm.
because they filed a new company name.
Mm-hmm.
First it was under 612 Games, now it's under D12 Games.
Something like that.
And so there is notable evidence that it is a cash grab game, and my evidence is that look at the Wild West Online gameplay video. It is very low quality. You can
probably not worth your money.
The galloping. I referenced the galloping animation and the gunplay. The gunplay is completely without recoil, which is so boring in a Wild West game. Why would you do that? The whole point of Wild West games is that they're frenetic they're fast gunfights where you're battling with recoil. Recoil is a bitch with revolvers. And so the notion that these people are gunslinging with perfect accuracy just annoys me. Then second,
Curcio non-gameplay accurate historical inaccuracy.
and it's also worth noting that all of these are the same problems that previous games in the same engine have, and that's because they never touch that shit up.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is the lawyer has a record, a very long one, of only dealing with video games built in this engine with that crew of developers. And he just happened to switch the name that is to add his initial to his filing name. Because that's what he did, is he changed it to Stephen A. Burku, whatever, and now and so he made it look like this is the only game he's trademarked or filed, but it isn't. He's filed all those other games.
Yep.
Why else would a company made why else would a game made with the same engine deal with the exact same trademark lawyer?
And same problems.
With the exact same problems of previous games.
Yeah, that's what pains me a lot. Not only these people are working basically on the same thing over and over again, so, they still haven't fixed the issues that they started with.
Absolutely. Now, Occam's razor is the reasoning tool where the simplest answer is usually the most accurate one. Yes. Now, the simplest answer here is, to me personally, is that this development company is frantically changing names to avoid legal consequences, and they're using this lawyer because he does it for cheap, or
is affiliated,
or is otherwise affiliated.
Yeah,
because, mind you, he has never filed a game that wasn't made with this engine, to my knowledge. All the other games that have made it to Steam use this engine.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be the same financier. It has to be. Like, that's what I'm getting out of this. It has to be related. Why else would they only file the name of their game a couple months ago? Why else would they include why else wouldn't he include a proper specimen for the filing papers? Why else would the company so vehemently deny working with the Sergey guy who did War Z? Because that guy was a scapegoat. He's not the one you should be looking at. So there you go. Next, GTA put up a definitely not PUBG mode called Motor Wars, and do not play as a DMPC. That's our show, unless you have anything to add, Chris.
Nope.
All right.
It was a wonderful show, and it's always a pleasure to be here.
Indeed. This episode was brought to you by the letter Orange.